The rustaceans are coming, people, and this time is for Python packaging. The team at Astral just released UV, which is Python packaging done in Rust, and it's an extremely fast Python package installer and resolver, which is designed to be a drop-in replacement for pip and pip tools workflows. And it's meant to be like a cargo for Python, basically. So cargo is Rust's package manager and linter and formatter, as I understand it. And the team at Astral wants to do the same thing for Python. So we don't have all these different tools we're using, we use one tool. So it's meant to be up to 100 times faster, depending on what you're doing. And I wanted to check out some of those bold performance claims in this video and compare it to how fast those things run in a traditional pip workflow. So yeah, some of these claims might seem pretty bold, but this is the team at Astral. They've already created the rough formatter, and the rough formatter actually had some open source, as you can see there, some open source founders and creators having to actually introduce bugs into their code in order to prove that they run that fast that they couldn't tell that they were running at all. So they come with good credentials, basically. So I've already installed UV on my machine. I've got a couple of different workflows that I want to go through. The way you use it is you basically wrap how you would do your traditional pip install command. It doesn't support all commands, so we can do pip install, pip compile, and pip sync. I'm going to install from a bunch of different options, so I'm going to install without cache and with cache just to see how they go. So you can see I've got these two different folders open, using pip, using UV. Hopefully that'll make things clear to you about what's going on and what I'm using at any given time. I'm going to be copying commands from a crimp sheet that I already have, so you don't have to see me typing them in every time. And also some of these commands are actually pretty confusing to run, where you're prefixing UV in front of everything. It actually becomes a little bit confusing, so that will be one complaint that I have straight away. First of all, let's go ahead with creating a virtual environment. So typically the way you do that is with using Python virtualenv module. So I'm going to time how long it takes in Python. I'm going to do them separately. So the way you do that in UV is just UV-venv. And I'm going to time that as well. And in each of these folders, we have a requirements file. So that requirements file, it basically just it installs Django, Flask, and Fast API. So I wanted to install a bunch of things all at once. I'll use that a little bit later on. We will time how long it takes to make a VM typically. So we got there 1.91 seconds, time it with UV. It takes 0.12 seconds, so significant increase in speed there. When I was doing this before, I was getting like a 72% increase in speed. So if you do 1.98, well, a 72%, that's not what I meant. I mean like 15%. 15 times, and what we've got there, 15 times. So there we go, kind of fits with that. I'm going to clear this. We will need to activate that, so we need to do source.venv bin activate, and you need to do the same. The other thing to mention here is that I wouldn't interchange these commands. Some of them you cannot do, so there is not like an equivalent uninstall command. When I'm uninstalling stuff, I'm having to remove the entire venv. So we're going to time how long it takes to install those requirements without using the cache. It's got a lot of things going in there. So we've got 9829, and then I will do the same using UV. And that is taken 3 times speed up on using the requirements file. Let me zero the venv and then run those commands again without using the cache. So I'm going to time how long each takes for installing from the requirements file that includes Flask, Fast API, and Django. So do it for pip first. So this is using the cache this time around, so that's 4.7 seconds. And then for UV, it takes 0.29, which is insane. I'm going to even redo that because I don't believe that that's that fast. So running again second time round because I wasn't entirely sure if I had done it properly. 0.25 seconds. Okay, it's running insanely fast, which is very cool. One thing that I have noticed, which is very cool as far as UV goes, is that it requires an activated virtual environment to run. So if I were to deactivate this and try to pip install something, so UV pip install Flask, say, it says can't install it, don't have an activated virtual environment, run UV venv. Once it's got that, you can then run UV pip install Flask. It'll go into that virtual environment, which is very good because it saves you from messing up where you might pip install Flask and it goes straight into your global dependencies, which obviously is something that a lot of new Python developers struggle with when they're installing packages. It just goes into global packages and you end up having to manually uninstall packages or just discover them at a later date. So another thing you can do is you can change the resolver that you are using and how it's resolved. If we were to say pip install, in fact actually we want to UV pip install Flask, and we want to set it to a particular version. So we specify that we want to say it at 2. And this is the example given on there. In fact actually we don't want a Flask there. Specify that we want it over version 2, so we've got the latest version because that matches that particular resolver, so 302. But we could also say that we want it at the lowest version, so resolution equal to lowest. Did that actually do what I wanted? I don't think it did. Let me deactivate. So this is the thing that I'm finding is that I'm having to deactivate environments, remove them. It's kind of cumbersome at the moment, so it is very much an early. It's early and it works for very particular workflows, but day to day it might not be an option for you. But let's UV pip install Flask and we set the resolution to lowest. So previously we set it to whatever the latest version was. Now, in fact, that's not worked, which is, oh no, it has. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong version numbers here. So that has worked. We've got version 2 rather than version 3 in that case. So we've got the lowest version that's being inserted. So yeah, it has a few things that it can't support, like egg dependencies or editable installs. I've only really used those like once or twice in the last 10 years that I've been doing Python, so I can't see that's going to be a big thing for people. The other thing that's really interesting is that, as I said, that this is meant to be like their cargo for Python. They've actually worked with Armin Ronacher, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who's the guy who's created Flask, and is taking stewardship of something called Rye, which is what he was working on in order to do that already. So this is really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how this develops and like if it starts adopting other tooling as well, which it says it is going to be doing. It's going to have a single one for piptools, virtualenv, and also things like pipex, tox, poetry, pyenv, and rough. That would be really interesting, just to have a single tool for all your Python tooling. That's kind of the dream, isn't it, really? So yeah, let me know in the comments whether or not you've tried out UV and what you think of it, if you're using Rough and how much Rust tooling that you want in your Python workflow. I'm looking forward to seeing the way this develops, and be sure to check out some of my other videos on package managers. Will probably pop up in a minute. Subscribe to the channel, all that sort of stuff, and I'll speak to you soon in a new video. All right, bye for now.